Before I let you go, I'm sure there's some people that are watching that maybe are wrestling fans or are thinking, maybe following your footsteps. So I just wanted to quickly talk about what your thoughts are on this new generation of wrestlers. I see you're laughing already, so this should be good. Now I see more and more South Asians in the industry. We've got Impact Wrestling, we've got WWE. So let's talk about this new wave. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's a better time now to be a South Asian wrestler?
You got to put it in perspective, right? So I'm not going to trample on anyone's dreams. It's a very temporary job. There's a small window of opportunity. If you are able to get an opportunity you'll enjoy it, but it's very limited. Remember, it's not someone that's family orientated. It's a big hindrance on that. Family unity is a big hindrance. But if that's none of your issues, then I say reach for the stars and go for it. Aspire for greatness and anything, if it's in a medical profession or law or whatever, even like the guy who sweeps the streets, whatever you have passion for, make sure it's all with your passion or you're going to be miserable. But what I would recommend is that get an education first and foremost, because nobody can take that away from you, right? You see a lot of people involved in sports, even outside of wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. You're a commodity first to the employer. And when you're no longer of any value, you'll be discarded. Some people say, oh, that's very, cynical or negative. No, that's life, right? That goes back to the thing of trying to make people happy. So if this makes some people unhappy, then screw it. I don't really care. But this is real. I've been through it. As long as you understand and realize what it is, you'll be honest with yourself and you'll do better for yourself. So I always recommend get an education. Nobody can take away from you. And then go on it. If you want to spend your 20s or early 30s or whatever and try to live out that dream and you do get an opportunity, great. And if you don't get an opportunity, bang. You're going to be coming back and you'll have a foundation of an education. So all these guys that you mentioned that are Impact Wrestling or in WWE or in Japan, that's awesome. I congratulate them. I think it's just, another evolution that the WWE and all these things now, they're looking at that South Asian market. It's always been there.
Well, India is a huge market for
It's a huge
everyone.
market,
Yeah.
but it's always been a huge market. But they're only looking at it now because the North American market is dwindling, right? So they're doing more money overseas than they're doing it locally. So their hand is being forced, right? And I say, great, congratulations, and represent the community first and foremost. Remember the South Asian community, we're a little bit different, right? So you got to remember you're representing the community, not just yourself, and carry yourself in a very dignified manner. Because at the end of the day, even if you made it, it's only for a limited time and you want to have something to fall back on, right? I say congratulations to the kids. I say go for your dreams, but get an education. Imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
It is, yeah.
So I'm very happy that even after all this time, Vince McMahon still thinks so highly of me and my character to try to replicate or whichever way. There can never be a replication or a duplication. There's only one, right? There's my dad. But the only difference I would see, and this is not a knock to Jinder Mahal or anybody, at the highest point of WWE, which was the Monday Night Wars back in the late 90s, early 2000, to get on the Monday Night Raw programming with the whole slew of cast that you had, like, remember, it's a fight. It's a pecking order. So they're not just going to fill it. Like, they got 3 hours now and they'll throw everybody. And so you had to have brought in ratings. So it's not about championship belts. No matter how much, this is how they use this. This was told to me by Undertaker. They use the belt to get the character over. How many championship belts did I have in WWE? I had none. But my character was over. So I remember sitting with Undertaker. And I said, I wish I could get a dual belt and all that. I was 23 or 24, whatever. And I said, I don't know when they're going to give me a belt. He goes, why do you need a belt? You're over. This is The Undertaker talking to me backstage, and someone I very, very revere and respect. And it's not your dad. It's different than if your dad's saying, you are the greatest, you're going to be the best. So he goes, but you're over. This is used to leverage to get you over. You don't need that. He goes, how many world titles have I had? The Undertaker. I think at the time he had 2. He goes, I don't need 15. I don't need 17. I don't need 10 world heavyweight championships to get over. My character is over. So he goes, kid, your character is over. You don't need it. So that was a huge learning curve for me. That this man who was the king in the WWE, longest reigning, longest standing, the most respected, most revered, even in the backstage, he was revered, looked on as kind of like the Godfather. I remember going to him and I said, wow, that makes I never looked at it that way, because I was, once again, materialistic, commodity driven, but I didn't look at the commodity of the brand. So I was booked on WWE. Not only to get booked on WWE to get TV time, but the TV ratings were the highest against The Rock, against Steve Austin, against DX, Undertaker, Triple H, who was it? Shawn Michaels. I think that's lost now. Try to understand what I'm saying, okay? And nobody can take this away from me, no matter what they try to malign or whatever they try to do. In the pinnacle of the WWE was the Monday Night Wars, was the rating wars. So we were running head-to-head against WCW, live. And I would get calls from the WCW guys, or some of the WCW big boss men or whatever. They would get traded. And when they came over and they would talk to me, they go, kid, when your segment was on, all the wrestlers in the backstage used to go to the monitors and watch it, because we were captivated to see, what is Tiger going to do? Yeah. That is the highest form of compliment anyone in the industry can get, and they can't take that away from me. In WWE, everyone tried to be like, we're cool. I was told, matter of fact, when I would go through the curtain into the ring, all the wrestlers in the WWE would run out to the monitor and watch it. Vince McMahon was captivated. I was told Vince McMahon fell off his seat laughing so loudly when he saw my How Low Will American Go segment. When I would come back, obviously everyone dispersed, right? Because you don't want to look like a mark. That is not by World Heavyweight Championships. So we have to understand, and I don't want to put down Jinder Mahal. I can't put down Jinder Mahal because it's a character, right? I don't even know him. Even though I was told when he was a kid, he came and seen me in Calgary. But now it seems like they're putting the titles even more obvious because fans are smart. I'm going to put it on you, but you're not drawing ratings, so then I got to pull it. So they did this whole big push for India in the last year. And once again, I'm not shooting down anyone because I'm not in the business. So they did a whole big push. So Jinder Mahal was fired. Then they brought him back before they did the big push. Then they threw the belt on. So fans don't like it because now you're forcing someone down their throat. Fans rebel. So not only did the business in India not go up because they gave him the belt, but the ratings were dismal here. And the draw was bad. So they had to take the belt from him. He was supposed to carry it into WrestleMania. So this is the story that I get in the backstage. So once again, not to put a slant on Jinder or any other wrestlers, but when you are given a spot when the likes of Shawn Michaels is on a card, or the Triple H or the Undertakers and that, like if you look at the roster now, it's skeletal compared to, that was the cream. Yes, there's Brock Lesnar right now. But what's the other draw? Like, can you name any other guys? But over there, like you could go on and on about the stars. Like the names are so big. So for me, they can't take that away, right? So for me, like there is no comparison. There is none. There's absolutely no comparison. So they can try to copy, they can try to do the $500 that the crowd was different, the energy was different, the market, the business, the time was different. It was hot. Now they're kind of sugarcoating it. It's like cotton candy. I think they've even changed the demographics. They're focusing more on like preteens are kind of like 14, 15. UFC has exploded.
Yeah.
They've taken a lot of that demographic away that was kind of like maybe the 16 to 35-year-old male and female. So it's gone through a huge different kind of modeling, right? But if you're talking business, that's where I sit on the whole scheme of things, right?
Absolutely.
What I would love to see even more is these guys not to be ridiculed with the stereotypes. Like Jinder Mahal, what I saw, he seems like a great athlete, seems like a great person. Go on his own merits, right? You don't need to bring him like, you know, the Maharaja or the king, the stereotypical stuff. So has the industry really evolved, or is it still the same? Why should you make him a stereotypical sort of character? That means there's no evolution, right? So he should be just like anyone else. Like,
well, let's see. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what Jinder, the Singh Brothers, all these up and coming
Singh
talents
Brothers are
doing.
great kids. We booked them on our Tiger Fest show. They were totally non-existent.
Yeah.
They came in from Vancouver. Jeff Jarrett, a good friend of mine, helped them out tremendously, and they got a really big break. So what I would like to see now, as an avid follower, is how will they do independently of Jinder Mahal? Like, will they succeed in the cruiserweight? They're not heavyweight. I think they're both under 6 feet tall, and they're both 160 pounds. So that's what I want to see, because they're great athletes. They have great charisma. But then that, for me, will say, okay, you know what? There's an evolution in the business. They're giving these guys an opportunity based on their merits, and not trying to, you know, cookie cut them or pigeonhole them into a certain sort of stereotype.